Thanks for checking out this video. So this is 10 amazingly awful horror films on Shudder, and when I'm recording this, it is January 6th, 2021. Oh, nope, sorry, 2022. Got to get used to that. January 6th, 2022. And so that is when I'm doing this. So if any of them end up leaving, I apologize because I'm putting this up not quite a week after recording it. So hopefully the films are still there. So this is really inspired by the fact that I know sometimes it's hard to kind of figure out what you want to watch on Shudder next, and so this is kind of a video specifically for people who love these so bad they're good films. And you may have seen all of these, you may have seen some of these, but hopefully someone or numerous people find this video and identify some films that they're like, I love so bad they're awesome films, and I'm going to check those out based off the recommendation. So these aren't in any particular order. I don't have them ranked or anything like that, but they are just so bad they're awesome films I saw that I know at this point are still on Shudder. And I'm just doing like a quick synopsis from IMDb because I didn't want to do the Shudder synopses because those are just like overly long and sometimes they really give away too much in my opinion. So just wanted to present that to you. So here's my list. Oh, and also put in the comments then if there are any other ones that I didn't include in this that you happen to know are so bad it's good on Shudder. So go ahead and put that in the comments because I love this type of film. So the first one I have on the list is Fangs. A snake lover sends out venomous snakes and reptiles to kill his enemies. One of the great things about this film, too, first of all, like nothing makes any sense. But one of the great things about the film is Alice Nunn is in this. Now you may be saying, who is Alice Nunn? Do you know the line, "Tell him Large Marge sent ya"? That is Alice Nunn, and she's my favorite part of the film. She's wonderful in her role. This film makes no sense. It's really weird and wacky and crappy. Worth watching, so check out Fangs. The next one is Just Before Dawn, and this one's a slasher. 5 young people venture into the backwoods of Oregon to claim a property and find themselves being stalked by a hulking machete-wielding psychopath. Sounds like a pretty typical slasher. The actual like killer isn't that interesting looking or anything, which I think adds to it being so crappy and funny, but it's definitely really entertaining and the scenery is beautiful. That's another plus for it. And there is a twist to the film that I was like, oh, okay, didn't see that coming. Points for trying to add a twist to this crappy thing. So Just Before Dawn. The next one is one of my personal favorites, and it's actually in my collection, The Mutilator. I think it's also known as Spring Break, I think is what it's also called. A college student who accidentally killed his mother as a child decides to take his friends to his father's fishing cabin during fall break, not knowing that his crazed father is stalking the place. This is another one. It's just so terrible. The killer isn't interesting at all, but what the killer does is interesting. It's ridiculous. It's awful. So many things just don't even make sense, and it's just like this meandering mess, but it's so enjoyably bad. Plus, there's a very interesting, inspired scene at the very end of the film that you're just like, what is going on? This movie sucks. And then all of a sudden, there's something that looks really awesome that happens in the end, and you're just like, didn't expect to see that from this film. Also, the other thing, if you have already seen The Mutilator and you like it, apparently Buddy Cooper, the guy who wrote and directed Mutilator, is working on a sequel right now. I'm excited about that. You know, keeping my expectations low, obviously, but I'm excited. The next one on my list is Witchboard. When his girlfriend becomes dangerously obsessed with a ghost she's contacted using a Ouija board, Jim reluctantly joins forces with her ex, his own estranged childhood best friend, to identify and exorcise the evil spirit. Now, this has Tawny Katane in it. Rest in peace, unfortunately. Recently-ish. And she does a pretty solid job. It's just ridiculous. It's over the top. The acting is also very much so, but it's interesting. I mean, and you don't really know where this film's going at any given time, and it's fun and terrible, and I highly recommend Witchboard. The next one is Beyond the Door. Juliette Mills plays a young pregnant woman in San Francisco who's going to have the devil's baby during her strange possession. Richard Johnson shows up to help her, but what does he really want? Another one, it's horrible, it's ridiculous, I think it's Italian dubbed over into English too, which I'm big into watching giallo films, so that kind of adds like this extra level of kind of like crappy comfort for me. So I enjoy that. So Beyond the Door, do it. The next one is Black Roses. Now this is a trauma film. Demons hit. Jeez, demons. I'm sorry. Demons hypnotize the general public by posing as a rock and roll band. This is a very rare horror rock movie. Yes, there's actual rock music in it. One of the greatest things about this film that just keeps me chuckling throughout the entire thing when I watch it, and I've watched it twice already, is the guy who plays one of the main characters. I think his name is John. He's in high school. He was literally almost 40 years old when he was in this role. By the time the movie came out, he had turned 40 years old. And you know it. Like, he looks like he's way too old. Way too old. I mean, a lot of shows and movies were known, especially back in like the 90s, early 2000s, for casting people in high school roles that were like in their late 20s, early 30s. This is that next level, and it's hilarious. Plus, it's just a fun, crappy movie. Enjoy. The next one, also in my collection, Rawhead Rex. An ancient creature called Rawhead is awakened from its slumber near an Irish village and goes on a rampage, killing anyone in sight. Now, this is actually based off a Clive Barker story, and I think Clive Barker actually did the script for it as well. Which, look up the original concept for the creature. Very, very phallic. Very insanely phallic. I like that they went a different route with the actual, creation of Rawhead. But this is another one. It's just like bloody fun. It's ridiculous. It's dumb. A lot of things happen just out of the blue. Don't make sense. Real fun time. Enjoy. It's a good one. The next one is The Pit. A solitary and strange preteen boy wreaks havoc on his harassers when he makes a disturbing discovery in the depth of a forest. This one takes ridiculous and crazy to insane levels. The first time I watched this film just on a whim, I was like, wow, what did I just watch? And then I went around and tried to tell everyone I knew, you have got to watch The Pit. It is insane. It is terrible, but it's so freaking enjoyable. And the actor who's the kid does a really good job, actually. This is actually based off a book called, I think it's called Teddy, the book. And yeah, they're very different, but if you are interested in this movie, you might also want to read the book. I have not yet, but I'm very interested because after reading up on the book, the differences sound quite interesting. It was a good concept, but man, it's nutty and ridiculous. My second to last one on this list is Hellmaster. A psychotic college professor uses unwitting students as laboratory rats, injecting them with a drug that mutates them into gory killers. John Saxon is the main villain in this film. First of all, love anything John Saxon's in, so if you also do, make sure you check this out. But also, this is just terrible. It's an awful film. A lot of like weird shots in it. Some of them actually look kind of good. You can tell that they had like one location to use and they just like did the set dressing terribly throughout it. There's just a lot of weird things, and like the designs for the students turned into killers is just weird, and like the voices that go along with it, it's a ridiculous ride. I've had a lot of fun with it. This is also one I've watched 2 times. I've watched Rawhead Rex 2 times as well. Actually, a bunch of these I've watched 2 times. Sometimes some of them more. I think I may have watched The Pit 3. Just saying. And the last one then is also one that I've watched probably about 3 times. Mausoleum. A 10-year-old girl mourning the death of her mother becomes possessed by a demon who has been preying on her female ancestors for centuries. Years later, the demon starts to take over, both mentally and physically. This one's also nuts. It has some really wacky practical effects that are actually pretty solid practical effects. There are rumors that this was potentially a film used to launder money for the mob at some point. Don't know if that's true or not. I find rumors for films like that a lot, so I don't know if that's verifiable or not, but you might be able to see why. Like, the acting is awful. It is so over the top. It is such a ridiculous film, and I love it. It's a lot of fun. So that's my list. Those are my 10 awesomely awful horror films on Shudder, and please share with me any that you know of, or maybe not even on Shudder necessarily, just some other awesomely awful films that you think I may need to know about. Now, I do need to point out I didn't include things on this list that people most likely do know about, such as, Basket Case or Street Trash or anything like that. I stayed away from anything that Joe Bob Briggs has covered on The Last Drive-In because I assume a lot of people who have Shudder have seen that, and so they're very much aware of it. So I wanted to go with ones that people have potentially not seen. So, just saying. Hopefully people like this. Give me some feedback on it in the comments. Do you want other types of videos? And in which case, what types? I'm talking about kind of like Shudder related, like, foreign films on top 10 foreign films on Shudder that I recommend, or anything like that. Let me know down in the comments, and like I said, your recommendations on awesomely awful films. Do me a quick favor, though. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. If you have already, you are awesome, and thank you very much. If you haven't, please do so, because that's how you repay me if you like this video or any video I've ever done. It is quick, painless, costs you no money, and I thank you very much for doing that. Also hit the notification bell button, because then you'll know when I'm putting up new videos. And I'm doing about 4 a week, so it's a pretty good amount. And if you watch them pretty soon after they go up, it helps me get traction with the video and get more views, so it's helpful. Get more subscribers. Anyway, thank you very much for taking your time to watch this, and until next time, keep it brutal.